Transform this into this. Hello, I'm Hayward, head baker here at The Big Bakes, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this giant taco cake in 5 easy steps. Let's talk about it. Okay, so we've got our 8-inch sponge and we're just going to let that cool, and then whilst it's cooling I'm going to move on to the buttercream and then we can come back to the assembly stage. So for my taco shell, I have some yellow fondant here and I've sprinkled in some crushed Oreos and then just kneaded that in to the fondant to give that sort of realistic taco speckled look. I'm then going to sort of press it into a rough circle shape. This will just make it a bit easier to roll it out. So I'm going to roll it to about 1/2 centimetre thickness. I don't want it to be too thick, but at the same time I don't want it to be too thin, so where I pick it up around the cake and it rips. So you're going for about 1/2 centimetre thickness. Keep moving it about 1/4 turns just so you're sure it doesn't stick to the surface. And you can see those Oreos in the dough, You can see those Oreos in the fondant really do look quite good. Okay, so now that we've got our taco shell rolled out, I'm going to go in with a bit of texturing, and to do that I'm going to use some baking paper that's scrunched up, or you can use tin foil and just gently press around your fondant to give it sort of an indentation going all the way around. Okay, so now that we've got our texture added to our taco shell, I've got my template here. This is a 10-inch round board. I'm just going to place that into the center, and then I'm going to cut around it. I'm going to leave about 1 centimetre gap from the board to cut around, just because we want it to stand slightly proud of our cake. So I'm going to leave 1 centimetre gap and then cut all the way around, and that's our taco shell done for now. So I'm going to roll out the excess fondant really thin. So this is going to be our nachos, and I'm also going to go in with my texturing again, and then I'm going to cut it into triangles and it will look really cool. So these are our nachos. I'm going to leave them on the rolling pin just to firm up while I make my toppings. So I'm making some red onion. I've cut out some thin strips of sort of a lilac shade fondant, and then I'm going to go over with just some purple dye just on the tops of each strip, and then I'm going to lay them on top of each other, and that's going to give that sort of sliced red onion look. So in order to make the lettuce leaf, I've got some green fondant here that I'm going to roll out really thinly, and then I'm going to lay it on some foil to get my crinkled texture effect and let it set. So for the cheese, I've got some yellow coloured fondant here that I'm going to grate. So the buttercream's nice and mixed now, and I'm going to split it out. Some is going to be for the filling of the cake, some is going to be for the guacamole, and then the rest is going to be for a sour cream drizzle at the end. So for the guac, I've got the leftover buttercream. I'm going to dye that sort of a pale green guac colour, and then I'm going to add in my chopped up ingredients from earlier, the little bit of chilli, red onion, some parsley, and some crushed Oreos to look like black pepper. So we're going to add the guac to the little container, and then we're going to top it with some of the ingredients just to garnish. So now we're going to move on to the taco meat, and to make that I'm going to melt some chocolate and mix it with some Rice Krispies. So now we're going to assemble our taco cake. So we've got our sponge, serrated knife, cut directly down the middle as evenly as possible. Then going to add the buttercream just to 1/2. Now going to add the lid, so the second half. Going to now place the cake into the center of our taco shell, and then just apply a thin layer of buttercream, just so that the fondant shell can stick. This part doesn't have to be perfect, it's going to be completely covered. So now you're just going to gently pick the shell up around the taco. So that was the reason we left the 1 centimetre gap, just so it stands slightly proud of the cake. So I'm going to apply the lettuce just to the edge and sort of crimp it as I go along to give it that realistic look. So I'm now going to add the taco meat to the centre. It's okay if it falls down. So we're going to add our toppings. Now for the finishing touches, we're going to add the guac from earlier and the nachos. And there you have it, a giant taco cake. Subscribe for more recipes, tips, and baking joy.